Game I know you've been waiting for. Number 20, Florida, at number 11, Tennessee. Them Vols favored by 10.5 points. The over-under, 62 points. And, of course, this game kicks off at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, all CBS. Florida won last year 38-14 in Gainesville, and they've won 5 in a row in 16 of the last 17. Shane, how about this, that Tennessee has never been favored against Florida by more than 5 in 44 years. Again, they're favored by 10.5 in this one. Thoughts on the game?
Buddy. You know, I miss the old hype video days. You remember when you throw up, it's time for a hype video? Because that's what I've been living in. I have been living in a hype video all freaking week. Every time I get on there, there's a new hype video being put out. And I watch them, every one of them. And, you know, I keep thinking to myself, Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban talking about the rat poison and don't read the clippings, boys. But it's hard, man, because it sounds so good. It's so tempting. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've been on a diet for 8 days and someone just made a cheesecake and it's sitting in the fridge. And it's like, I know I'm not supposed to eat it, but, you know, maybe I'll just take a little bite, you know. I want all of it, man. And I want all of this game. Everything that this is the work, man. Tennessee Vols have put the work in. And they've had a lot of 16 out of the last 17. You know, that's think about that, Mike. 17 games and you lose 16 of them, that crushes your soul. And they ask, well, why is this like a hanging cloud over you when it comes to Florida? I don't know. Maybe because half my life we've got our asses kicked by the Gators. You know what I'm saying? That's part of it. But I love everything about this matchup, especially as a Volunteer fan, because, you know, Florida can't keep up. You know, the only way they could keep up is by not letting us have the ball. Take a page out of App State's book and run and pound and move the chains, fake injuries. That's what they're going to have to do, man. That's what they're going to have to do, because as soon as we get 2 scores on these boys, it's going to be very, very tough for them to get back into the game. And that's just because of the way their offense is situated right now. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson is talented, but he hasn't thrown a touchdown all year since week 1. You know what I'm saying? And then you got this running back group, which is very good, very dynamic. And if anybody can keep the chains moving, it's going to be those 2 boys. So part of me, Mike, here it is, rat poison. I'm already in it. One second. My camera even died. That's a sign, Mike. It's a damn sign. Talk good about the Vols in Florida, and then the camera's like, oh, you sure you want to put that out there?
At least just don't go Vols by 50 hype video.
No, I'm not going to do that, but all right. So sorry about that. I mean, is that not a sign? And you know what I'm saying? We can't even get through a podcast talking about Tennessee-Florida game without my camera messing up. So, Mike, here's what boils down to. Who's got the better team? Right now, I think it's the Tennessee Volunteers. On offense, defense, I think they got it. The thing that worries me about the Florida Gators is those running backs. What worries me is Anthony Richardson. You know, here's a guy that had all the pressure in the world coming into week 1. He doesn't now. All right, this is a kid that can cut loose and have fun. And that's what worries me a little bit, because every time you see a team go against the Tennessee Volunteers, especially Florida, when you count the quarterbacks out, that's usually when they shine and they get back into the Heisman race. Because, again, 17 out of 16, you know, so, or 16 out of 17. So I say all that, again, to say this, Mike. I'm just warning you. All right, I'm all in on the Volunteers right now, and I know Tillman's hurt, probably not going to be playing. I don't know, you know, exactly the running back situation, but that's the good thing about this Heupel offense is he's recruited in those areas well, and I think we're going to be fine. We've got pieces to put in there. So let me get my score out here, Mike, because Tennessee Volunteers are about to do something magical, and that's beat them Florida Gators. Now you're probably going to save this, and you're going to rub it in my face, and I'm probably going to turn off the internets and the social medias, and you won't see me till Monday. There's a real possibility that happens. Anybody that's listened to the show knows that I've done it. How many times now? 6 out of 7? Is that what you said? Yeah. So I mean, any listener of this show, every single year I've gone off the grid. But I'm buying back in. I'm buying back in. So give me those Tennessee Volunteers scoring 38, Florida 24. I think they keep it close. Here's how I think it plays out, Mike. I think Florida keeps it close, maybe even has a little touchdown lead in the first quarter, okay? But I think something happens in the second, an accident on defense, Anthony Richardson maybe throws a pick, and then we start scoring. And once that happens, once we get the confidence, once we get that little monkey off our back knowing that we could beat the Florida Gators, I think that's exactly what we do. We stretch the field, and it's not that Florida can't compete with Tennessee. They just can't do it this year. Unless we get between our own ears, that's the only way the Florida Gators beat us. So, yeah, I think this is the year for please God be the year for Tennessee Volunteers. Come on. What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, Florida's got to come out, start hot. That's the key to the game. So paramount. They've got to be able to rush the ball, shorten Tennessee's possessions. And Hendon Hooker, Shane, he's kind of been shaky starting out. So, I mean, that's critical for Florida. They've got to continue that trend. He's 4 of 8 in the first in game 1, Shane. Hendon Hooker was 4 of 8 to start. Game 2 against Pitt, 2 of 8. That's awful. 4 of 8 again against Akron. So Florida's got to hope that trend continues. And this is also a red flag, Shane. 3rd and short, which is 4 yards to go or less.
Yeah.
Tennessee was 2 of 5 versus Ball State. 4 of 9 against Akron. I mean, this is going to be a hell of a lot tougher test than those programs. So how about this stat, Shane? Richardson, he rushed it, design rushes against Utah 11 times. He was spectacular. Against South Florida and Kentucky combined, only 14. So you've got to unleash him. I don't care if he's banged up or what. You got to put it all on the line in a game like this. Otherwise, you got no shot in hell of beating them Tennessee Vols, Shane. Checkerboard kneeling. This crowd is going to be incredible.
Great uniforms, game day. Come on. Peyton Manning's going to be down there.
I was wrong about that one, Shane. No gray.
Oh.
They're going traditional, which the old farts are going to like that even better. Orange tops there for the Tennessee Vols.
Okay.
But how about this, Shane? Florida in the third quarter. They have yet to score. They have 81 total yards in 3 ball games. They've got 2 turnovers, 8 first downs in the third quarter. So something to be said there. Even if this is a tight ball game at halftime, Shane, Billy Napier and company, I don't know what the hell they're doing at halftime, but they're not doing it right. That's going to be something to monitor in this ball game. You know, Josh Heupel's been saying all the right things. I think his confidence is certainly going down to the players, it looks like. But how about Florida, Shane? I mean, all week, they are very, very confident heading into this matchup. And maybe that's just because they own Tennessee and Florida, you know, they deserve to talk up the big game, even though they're not ranked as high, even though they've already dropped a game. I mean, this is shades of can a duck pull a truck out here, you know what I mean? The last time Florida was this confident in a ball game, you know, that was a real issue. But how does Florida handle their first road game of the season? And not just any. Shane, if they were going to, I don't know, Vanderbilt, I'd be like, how's Florida going to handle, you know, this trip? This is going to be on a different level with the CBS, Checker Neyland. These fans are going to be insane. Game day, I mean, so much hype. How does Tennessee handle hype? That's the biggest question in my mind, Shane. I say all that to say this, Shane. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me a dozen times, I must be a Tennessee grad. Tennessee 38, Florida 17. I got this as a 3-touchdown ball game. I don't see any way Florida keeps this competitive. I'm sure I won't regret these comments, brother. But, you know, I know week to week teams look completely different, so there's something to be said for that. But, man, just the way Florida's playing, I don't know. And I don't know if you saw this, Shane, but Dan Mullen came out here and said, of course, Dan Mullen knows Anthony Richardson as well as anybody. But he says when everybody's counting him out, like the Utah game, when the expectations are low, he shines. When you put, you know, expectations on him, pressure on him, he kind of has been crumbling. And this, if you're a Tennessee fan, you got to keep that in the back of your mind because everybody and their mother is picking Tennessee to win this game. Even Dan Mullen, he said all that, then he turned around and said, yeah, Tennessee's going to win. No expectations. We may be getting Superman Anthony Richardson. And if we do, I don't even know if that's enough to have Florida win the ball game, but it would be enough in my mind to have them be competitive. The biggest issue, Shane, is just there's two key critical factors in this. Florida is severely lacking weapons outside of two outstanding running backs and Anthony Richardson himself, which he may be limited. And two, they're very, very, very thin on defense. And how in the world can you match up against a Tennessee offense that snaps the ball in 18 seconds and is going to try to run 100 plays? It just doesn't seem realistic to ask Florida to hold up on defense for 4 quarters. That doesn't mean Tennessee's going to score 50 points or anything.
Yeah.
But hell, we both got them scoring 38, and that would be, I believe, their lowest scoring of the season. So
yeah.
Tennessee may even score more than 38.
Oh, just crown them, baby. Just crown them already. SEC champs. Let me ask you, Mike. Now that we've got our predictions in and projections, so here's how this game really plays out. Florida comes out, punches us right in the mouth, goes up 7-0. Then they start leaning on the running game, right? Then we kind of inch back into this thing, and then Anthony Richardson gets hurt. Now enters the backup. Now, not the backup, because he's hurt, right? But the backup. Who's that guy?
Freshman.
Don't even know his name.
Yeah.
I don't know his name. It doesn't matter. You'll know his name after this game because he'll come back and then he'll lead the Florida Gators to this huge victory. And there's quarterback controversy for the next 2 seasons. So that's what happens, Mike, because I've been hurt so many times.
So is it safe to say your confidence level is low in your prediction heading into this matchup?
Lower than Morristown Honda, man. There's a reason I didn't put a wager on here because I don't want to jeopardize my undefeated season.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, do I put it on there? Maybe there's some good, mojo on there. But then I was like, no, it's a Tennessee-Florida game. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. I'm going to go there. I'm going to enjoy it because I'm telling you, man, this is going to be the greatest game of the week, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I think the Texas A&M Arkansas game is a fantastic game. Nothing against Missouri and Auburn, but there's just something about this one here with the game day, and it's going to be loud. It's going to mimic that Ole Miss at times 10. Mm-hmm. Tennessee's going in there expecting to win. Florida's coming up expecting to win. That's what's so magical about this game. The Texas A&M game, I would put it up there if it weren't played in freaking Dallas Stadium. You know what I'm saying? So. But yeah, it's just going to be a monumental game, and the crowd's going to be behind them. So I think that Tennessee's going to win this thing, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm also a realist, Mike, and I've been hurt before.
Right. No, I'm not surprised at all to hear that, Shane, and wouldn't be surprised if you go silent during this game until Tennessee, if and when they have a lead, you may reemerge. But
right.
You're going to be on the edge of your seat come Saturday, and I don't blame you, given everything we've seen in this series. I had our friends at Wager Shane make up a graphic with Shane's Wager of the Week, Tennessee over Florida, but that's how confident I thought you would be, but totally understand the lack of confidence. Again,
no,
I mean,
I can't.
No doubt we're getting Utah version of the Florida Gators and Anthony Richardson on Saturday. Mark my words. You know what?
You want to see the best fought Florida game this year? It's going to be Saturday. Knoxville, Neyland Stadium. You're getting them. It's because that's just how it is. That's how it's always been. I think that's why we're nervous. We're going to come in nervous. We're going to act like we've been there before. We're going to act like this isn't a ball game. And you see it online. A lot of cocky fans, but we do that every year. But this year's a little bit different. But every single true volunteer fan, you ask them in their gut, Would you put your mortgage payment on it? Would you, put your firstborn on it? They're going to say no because it's the Florida Gators and they find ways to beat us, So,
right.
So everybody, all the Florida fans, they know what I'm talking about. They listen to us brag about how great Tennessee's offense is and the Heupel thing, but in the back of their mind, they're like, yeah, you say what you want, because I'm saving every last clip so I could put it on